Yo, what's going on, my peoples? 𝐊𝐄𝐃𝐄𝐃 in the building, bringing you another tutorial from OK Beatz, and we're gonna get straight into this one. It seems like it's gonna be a Latin reggaeton type beat, and let's have fun. Let's get right into it. So, for the sake of time, I went ahead and put together some patterns for you guys, and we're gonna go ahead and go through them one by one so we're not confused or anything like that. So here we go. This is the 808. This is what this sounds like. Oh, first of all, we put this tempo at 88 because that's like a perreo. That's a perreo tempo, more or less. If you wanted to go a little bit faster, it would be like 92, but 88 and 92 are the two most prominent reggaeton tempos, if I'm not mistaken. So anyways, here's the pattern for the 808. Alright, so that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to go ahead and try this next one. I'm going to hold Option and click on this little green light right here. That's going to solo it. And this is the kick. So obviously the kick is just 4 to the floor, like every reggaeton beat, more or less. Alright, so that's that. The next one is going to be the snare. That's what this sounds like. Let me go ahead and open up the pattern window for you, or the piano roll, and play that like that. Here's what this sounds like. This is the snares. Alright, so right after the snare comes the open hat that I chose. Here's what that sounds like. Alright, that's pretty self-explanatory. It just serves as a little accent. So this is now we're getting into the melody. The clavinet. This is the clavinet. This is what it looks like. If you haven't seen it, from Arturia, clavinet 5. Alright, that's what it looks like. Go ahead and open up this pattern right here, and basically this is what that sounds like. Alright, so as we can see, it switches up a little bit, that pattern, but it's pretty straightforward. It switches up here and there, but it goes back to that main counter melody, because this is what this is. This is like a counter melody. Most reggaeton beats have one. It's what gives it its kind of like Latin vibe, I guess. Let's go check the next one, which is the ARP 2600 by Arturia as well. It's just another synth, and it's pretty crazy, but it sounds pretty cool. I put it on this preset called New Vision. Let's see what that sounds like. Alright, so that's what that sounds like, more or less. We'll go to the next instrument, which is called Black Sting by Flex. Excuse me. Flex is a instrument that comes native with FL Studio, and and it sounds pretty good. It has some pretty good sounds. It has some cheesy sounding sounds too, I'm not gonna lie, but for the most part, if you look through it, you can find something that's useful. So this is what this sounds like. This is what this looks like. Alright, so that's basically all of the instruments right there that I let you guys hear. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is go right into this playlist window. Right click on this pattern 1 that it says right here. Right click on it and go to split by channel. So that's gonna split each instrument by channel. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight all of them by clicking on the top one and then holding shift and clicking on the bottom one. Then dragging this top one into track 5. That's going to put all of them in its respective place. One thing that I did do on this beat is I made a really long pattern. These patterns are long for a reason. Not every beat has to be pieced together by different patterns. Sometimes you can make the pattern yourself all the way through the beat. You know what I'm saying? It's not just it doesn't have to be a repetition of the same exact pattern all the way through. Like, you can make changes here and there. And then since this whole pattern takes up about 1, 2, 3, 4 times 4 is about 16 bars, I'm gonna go ahead and just hold Command and press B, and that's going to basically just copy and paste it right next to it. You have to have the exact amount highlighted, and it has to be an exact time with the tempo and with the whole session, so that whatever you have selected can get copied exactly where it is and how it sounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy that about 3 times, so that way I'll have about 4 copies of the same exact pattern. If I hover over here by this meter bar over here, by the 65th bar, I can see that over here a little time pops up, and that's basically going to be the time of the beat so far. So right now it looks like we have a 2-minute and 54-second beat, which is okay for this tutorial. We don't need to make a extremely long tutorial. But I'm gonna go ahead and start this beat off by letting the black sting and the clavinet come in. I'm gonna go ahead and shave off all of these other instruments real quick and hear what that sounds like real quick. I'll change this to song mode, by the way, because it's in pattern mode, so I'll change it to song mode so that we can hear what's here on the playlist editor. So okay, that sounds good. But I want to start letting this ARP come in like after a few bars of that. Actually, I got this on solo. I almost forgot, so I'm gonna go ahead and unsolo that, and now let's hear it. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and play that ARP from the very beginning too. I will let this whole melody play out from the very beginning, and then we're gonna start off. The drop is gonna start right here at the 9th bar. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a riser before that drop, and then to help the bar, I'm also gonna put an impact. I'm gonna go ahead into my dark pop kit that I have here somewhere. Here we go. And go into the drums, the drum kits. I have some risers like that one. Perfect. Bow. Let me there's the little mouse wheel that I have lets me hover over this meter bar over here, and when I roll it down, it widens or zooms in for me, so that's pretty neat. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that riser right there. I'm gonna hold Option so that I can bypass the snap to grid function. Put that exactly where I want. Press E, highlight all three of these, press C, cut through all of these, press E again, highlight these, press B, hold Option, and hover over this edge over here where this little arrow side to side pops up, and then I can go ahead and just shave off the last few bars of this, so you can only hear this riser. Alright, here we go. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay. That's sounding somewhere. So we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere, guys. Alright, so now that part is done, that's more or less the intro. I'm gonna go ahead and start making like the different sections of the beat, which is the intro, the hook, the verse, the hook again, the verse again, the breakdown, and then the hook and the outro. So here we go, guys. So every, let me see, 9 to 16, about 8, every 8 bars, I'm gonna make some kind of change. So that's what's gonna mark the different sections of the song, the changes. Excuse me. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight these instruments right here, which is the kick, the snare, and the open hat, and we're gonna start that off 4 bars later. We're gonna let these black stings right here come in 8 bars later, and we're gonna see what that sounds like so far. Alright, so right here, right before those other instruments come in, I'm gonna go ahead and make an instance of these snares, and I just want one snare, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna repeat that snare a couple of times before the snares come in, or before all of those instruments come in. So I'm gonna take those, repeat it, highlight it, hold Shift and press down to move it right where it goes. Okay, snares. So let's see what that sounds like. Press B. Alright, let's space that. Let's space that out some. Every 3 more or less. Alright, let's see. Let me take this clavinet off real quick. Start the open hat sooner. change right here. Take this 808 off. As a matter of fact, this makes me want to take this 808 down too. And let it start later on. Let's hear what that sounds like. Sorry about the jumping around, guys. What I'm hearing, I'm liking where we at so far, but I'm gonna go ahead and interject and tackle the clavinet. For some reason, the clavinet seems like it's off key with the stings. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. And it's really just this portion right here. And then whatever matches this portion, like this portion, this portion, this portion, because it's the same, you know, all part of the same pattern. So I'm gonna have and listen to it, and I'm gonna move around some keys until it sounds right to me. All right, so here we go. This, if I want to loop here, double click and then click and drag up there, and this is what's looping. Wherever this red stuff is at is what's gonna loop. So you right click and drag and let it snap to the grid. Alright, so this is what I'm listening to. Remember, I'm messing with the clavinet. Listen to this thing because it's clashing right now, so just so I could pay attention to this melody. Okay, I think I found the solution. Instead of putting this at G, I'm gonna put it at A. This one right here, I have to change it to. Let's see. All right. Much better. Okay. So the variation, it didn't exactly work like I wanted it to, but that's okay. Because we're just looking for the beat to be dope anyway. So let's turn this back on. Let's play. Let's jump from the beginning. Alrighty, so that sounds pretty good. Now let's get back to these variations real quick. Okay, so let's hear it. I like that by itself. Just let it rock. C for slicer tool. Cut these last 8 bars out and highlight everything. Press E, B, go back here, create a drop. Actually, let's keep this because I like that. I'll take this little riser right here. I'll hold shift, click on it, and drag it all the way over here because I like that. And let's hear it. Beautiful. And I'll go ahead and grab my custom watermark and put it towards the end over here. That's how I like it. Go open my mixer, go to the master fader over here, right click on the fader, say create automation clip, and this will create this thing right here. I'll drag it all the way to the top, right click on that ball, copy, paste it right there, and then this last one, just go ahead and create that fade, smoothing out that fade, and let's see what that sounds like.
Okay, Beatz.
Awesome, guys. Okay, so right now what we're gonna do is we're going to mix. We're still in good timing, about less than half an hour in, and now we're gonna get into this mixing real quick. Alright guys, so open up your mixer, bow, open up your channel rack, bow, go over here to where it says automation, click on that and click all, because we want to see everything that we got on the channel rack. Once you got that open, go ahead and highlight all of these little rectangular boxes. This one seems to already have a channel. Oh wait, no, this one wasn't supposed to be here actually. This was I accidentally hit record and it starts a new pattern when you do that. So I'm gonna delete that. It's okay, good. So I'll double click on these little boxes right here so we can highlight all of them. When I do that, except this last one, we don't need to highlight this last one. Sorry about that, guys. So highlight all of them, and then hit Command L. That's gonna give everything its own space. All right, guys. That's what everything has its own space. So let's go ahead and listen. As we listen to all of these instruments and patterns and whatnot and clips, We don't necessarily need to look at this part anymore because we already did the work that we were going to do there. So what we're really paying attention to is the mixer, because now we're listening carefully for levels, we're balancing levels, and we're putting things in stereo or mono to give everything its place in the field, in the stereo field, and the sound spectrum. So first things first, our 808, as I like to always do, I always put it as my very first instrument. The kick goes right next to it because those are my lows right there. My snare or clap is what comes afterwards. The open hat or the hi-hats comes right after that. So this is basically the drums, and then the melody instruments start coming in, the clavinet, the arp, and the black sting. And then comes all of the extra sounds that I added to the mix, which were the riser, the impact, and my watermark. And this channel right here is basically where my vocals is being heard from, so we don't have to pay attention to it. So I just go ahead and move that out the way. Just know that that's where my vocals coming from. I'm gonna go ahead into the master track real quick. And the very first thing that I want to do, because I want to hear everything like kind of in my face, so I know what everything is gonna sound like as the end product. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go in here into my master fader, or my master track, and go into slot 10, very last slot, and go ahead and throw in a limiter of your choice. My choice of limiter is usually the classic clipper from T-Rex. And I always turn that up to about 1.4, 1.5, and then the output as well, about 1.4, 1.5. And then I make this slope a little bit edgy right here. I put it to like 5.5, -5 right here. That's fine. Let's hear what this sounds like. And as we're listening, guys, once again, as we're listening, this is where I'm going to start messing with the faders and each sound, like the volume of each sound pretty much. So here we go. I'm loving how it sounds so far. I'm gonna go ahead and start with this black sting because it seems like the thing that stands out the most out of the melody. So I'm gonna go ahead and rectify certain frequency issues that I might feel it has. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the Pro Q3 by FabFilter on there. This is my favorite EQ. So let's listen to that. I'm gonna put a preset on there called low cut, because we don't need anything below these frequencies. And I'm gonna turn it down at about 5K. So it doesn't feel so harsh. I'm gonna put a reverb on this real quick. Put the Pro R from FabFilter. Make this a little bit stereo, as a matter of fact. turn this to about halfway. Let's listen to it. Gives it like a more clubby vibe. And turn this mix knob down a little bit more. On this ARP, I'm gonna go ahead and throw 𝐊𝐄𝐃𝐄𝐄 stereo compressor from Waves, and just put some compression on that. So it can be real smooth. It doesn't pop out on us. And then turn it down over here on the mixer. Just a little bit. Also gonna do that to the clavinet. Go ahead and put that 𝐊𝐄𝐃𝐄𝐄 stereo compressor. Give it some compression till I start seeing some pumping here. Nice. Turn this up some. Turn about 45. Put it on 60 hertz here. Let's see what that sounds like. Nice. Makes it stand out a lot more. So I'll turn the general volume down to this now. And then this is on stereo right here. Whenever you see me turn this little thing, I'm making it more wider, making the image of it wider. So another thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead into the channel rack and I'm gonna go to the kick. So I'm gonna show you a little trick. Click on that kick right here. Go to the window of that. Exit out of all this stuff. This is the pattern window. Go into this little tool right here. This little wrench tool. This is for your kicks, guys. If you want to give your kicks a little bit more power, first of all, you'll cut self over here. You'll cut see where it says cut self. Hit that so that it doesn't trip over itself. And it makes the transient kind of go away as soon as another transient comes in. And then turn up the volume right here where it says levels adjustment. That volume right there is going to help that kick stand out a lot more. This is the preamp right here. This is the preamp section for this sound. Every sound on FL Studio has a pattern window, which is this whole window. And this is where you get to control almost every aspect of this pattern right here. This is the pattern we're looking at right here. That's the pattern we're looking at. So here you have a general volume, which I like to turn down some. This is basically where you affect the shape kind of the pattern. And you could do all types of stuff. You could normalize it. You could reverse it. You could fade the stereo, which sounds pretty cool. You could try different stuff out, guys. You know, go crazy. This is where you boost it to make it extremely loud and crush it and, you know, distort it and whatnot. This is where you can cut some of the frequencies off of it, and as you can see, the pattern is changing as I turn the knob. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that back to normal, and I'm gonna go to this little wrench tool, as I said, and turn up this volume for the kick right here. Now let's hear what this sounds like. You'll see that it's gonna stand out a lot more. Same thing for the open hat. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit over here, and then I'm gonna go to this little wrench tool again, and there's this little section that says echo delay. So I'm gonna turn the feed up just a tad bit, and that's gonna give it that little, you know, that little echo repetition. Put it on ping pong mode right here too. Turn it up a little tiny bit right here on the levels adjustment. this little time knob right here is where you would adjust the timing of each delay of every echo. I like it just the way that it is, but you know, you can change it to 4. You can change it to 3. You can change it to 2. I like it at 3 because it's kind of offset a little bit. It doesn't necessarily play on beat, but it's just the echo. It's just giving it a little bit of texture. So that's my reasoning behind that. Anyways, we're pretty much almost done here, guys. There's not much to it. We picked good sounds, which I always stress, pick good sounds, and you should be always able to come out with a good result because of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some EQ on the master bus, a little bit of EQ on there, and turn it down at about 500 hertz. Put it down about 3 decibels. And then I'm also going to right click on that band right there and hit make dynamic. So this is gonna make it kind of bounce up and down a little bit with the song, you know what I'm saying? So it's like kind of like compression a little bit, because it doesn't totally take away those frequencies, but it kind of, you know, goes up and down with the dynamics of the song. So we're gonna check that out real quick. You see this? Turn it up a little bit over here for the brightness. Just slightly, about 2 dB. Sounds good so far. Turn it up over here at the low end. About 250 hertz. We could give it a little bump. Bump there, and that sounds about good, guys. I'm gonna let this play out. If I hear something out of whack, then we just fix it. This looks like it's clipping a little bit above 0, so we're gonna come in here to the clipper and turn it down a little bit on the output until it's not clipping anymore. Put that at 1. This gain at about 1 as well, 1 dB. See, so now we have it below 0, but I want it to just be like touching 0, so I'm turn up a little tiny bit more. Alright, make it a little bit more edgier. 0.5. It's looking pretty good, guys. Sounding pretty good. So as you can see, you can right click up here, or press the B so you can get the pointer tool. Press B. You can right click up here. Where do I add a marker on this thing? Tools. Time markers, here we go, add one. So I'm gonna put a hook right there. Right here, I'm also going to add one. Time markers, add one is Option T. As you can see, Option T is the shortcut for that. Click on it here. And set Option T. There we go. Hook. So if we want to get really specific on where all of our stuff is at, we can click here and say Option T. Say this is the verse. Go in here to Option T. Say this is a breakdown or something. And this Option T is a verse as well. And so there you go. Long verse, short verse, breakdown. Hook, hook, hook. And then obviously Option T, intro. Intro right there. And then this is where the outro is at, more or less. So there you have it, guys. You have all the sections of this song. You have intro, you have the hook, you have the verse, you got the hook, you got the short verse, you have a breakdown, you have a hook, and then you have the outro. So Command A to highlight everything, and Command R to bounce it down. I'm gonna call this Latin Jam Perreo. Press save, wave, and MP3. Everything else should look like this, so you don't mess it up.